The United States federal government should protect patent flight, expanding patent eligible subject matter to ethical human germline genome edited products. The advantages of innovation. Companies racing capitalizing the germline editing field patents lead their flow of investment. BVN 18 companies racing with CRISPR racing experiments to achieve high rewards once it's feasible. We regulate the supplement are using ways to consider an ethical strategy and handling vendors by risking patent application to human germline and apply tech before assessed is only a matter of time before reward source is open. And trials are reported around the world resulting in the race of dominating the market. Companies are heavily invested without regard to humans patents being the entire world. Looks at the U.S. to establish norms around germline editing. IP is uniquely key. Southwest 18 barriers resistant from the U.S. scheme. If we fail to be the first survivor, risk allowing the future labor slip over things by not being the first to win risk, we lose the right to lead the discussion and implement those ethically first which is not frontier already begun with monetary value at stake. It behooves us some experts to share of IP is starting to spring for development center by the first September. The next game change expectations are odds as simple. U.S. falls behind unless previous approach is not eligible to fail to pursue all avenues of policy may cause the U.S. to lose success to prevent scientific power. The rest of the world may not wait for us to board solid ethical questions. China, the UK, and Sweden are taking the lead, and the U.S. must fall behind the tech. We must re-examine curve research which hamper progress. The plan makes germline editing eligible for patent protection while building in ethical guardrails. The application process that encourages use for germline editing for treatment but discourages use for enhancement medicine. 20. Avenue through which the government can control human germline editing's patent law patents are critical and biotechs in the real feature base and copying is the concerns least the importance of patents to protect research and ensure editing to the benefits and amplify the prohibition of funding forces. The private sources of patent law can control the investment in germline editing, diminishing the opportunity for original investment and protection. It is inevitable that we will seek protection. One way to control is the private and will utility doctrine reestablishment will further align U.S. laws with other foreign countries, and arguments can be settled by exerting the success of other countries, include the patentability of the moral utility doctrine control alignment between human enhancement, allowing the human editing and treatment and prevention of disease become eligible. The doctrine could project applications for enhancement in courts of legislature to restore the doctrine in a limited manner and implement oversight important to ensure our partial decision-making. The doctrine were revived the appeal system to address to subject to perspectives examiner feedback by experts submitted panel. Now the advocates brings to submit composed of cases of knowledge for the second case, and those qualified in ethics to be done to be aided by the most educated AI removed human organisms for subject matter, including those no patent human organisms will not be eligible because human editing gene mutations are expressed and they treated germ cell in every DNA offspring by altering DNA in every future cell. The patent system is key to present a regulatory mechanism to best integrate ethical standards and innovation. Must be 19. Time to clarify patent ethics, utilizing patent prosecution as ethical regulation is superior to any regulations, keeping us timely and more flexible. Negative implications for issues are heightened because of accessibility, limited oversight. We sacrifice the opportunity to analyze this issue during patent prosecution. We forego public stakeholder input and regulatory scheme. It must be expansive in response to the patent process. Produces a unique opportunity for proactive ethical regulation that will mitigate the issues associated with the game of catch-up. Existing infrastructure is insufficient. Restricting access to funding does not provide a disincentive for large sports industry comes. Its grants restrictions are irrelevant. Research continued on heated FDA regulation occurs too late to be effective by the time the tech has reached the FDA. Research has been conducted. Ethical events occur. Patent prosecution has been occurs the ideal point in the tech's life cycle early enough to mitigate the risk of unethical use, but late enough to allow future applications of the technology to be somewhat apparent. Attempting to implement regulation in the preliminary stage can prevent efficient because future uses could not be apparent. This temporal relationship is unique to patent law and resolves the issues inherent to the retroactive system. Patent prosecution is superior to the industry self-governance with large effects as a profit. That profits cloud the self-regulated judgment. Self-regulation is insufficient in standing alone. It makes funding restrictions only effective substantive predictable funding back from patent law where reaches a much larger number of technologies and credits are so commercial desirable incentives to subject themselves to ethical regulation regardless. Funding regulation, patent process, individualizes the beneficial ethical issues can vary widely. Consideration recurs to method deployment. Allow external assessment of the ethical risk to be made clear early in the process of patent law. It's critically invitation ethical regulatory mechanism. The plan uses a blended approach that involves the courts, Congress, and USPTO to allow oversight, prevent misinterpretation, and incentivize innovation. Modernity. Ideal approach would be such a provision allowing denial ethical grounds for leaving scientific specific examiner and flexible and provide the utility doctrine allow judicial oversight and provide flexible regulation. The Congress will look to trust into consideration of innovative order. The public limits the opportunity for political pushback. Lobbying groups while establishing some discrete requirement for allowing ethical consideration of patent room misinterpretation coupled by coupling legislation with clear purpose and oversight input. USPTO discretion is essential to system USPTO to tailor requirements and more specific and by both professional guidelines and public opinion agency policy can be amended more quickly because of expertise, offset the instruments of general regulation allowance and minimize the risk of intentional judicial interpret judges are qualified to perform line drawing to find the parameters of what is permissible. This is representation of public opinion. What doctrine could develop without a risk of judicial oversight being necessary to reanalyze the opinion in the future after developments. If ethical regulation of too severe patents can become too elusive, the innovation disincentivize appropriate balance between invention and production lies somewhere in the middle, making perpetual reevaluation necessary. Some tech would certainly be more biological weapons balancing out if this is fails to stiffen the fill and favor societal disappropriation. Borderline instances when vulnerable material benefits not outweigh morality subject to CRISPR and framework is more like that of the merits of patent prosecution, more into ethical application, more to enunciation, effective evaluation cannot be accomplished by legislation or common law blended version that mimics international approaches that accommodates discretion based on policy climate with the more utility structure strikes the appropriate balance between innovation and protecting. Scenario 1 is treatment. Diseases are rapidly emerging and spreading across the globe. Genome editing revolutionizes global health response, limiting their restrictions. Water 21. With connectivity across boundaries, outbreaks for rapidly growing global concerns, the diseases are endemic outbreaks, and we're totally unexpectedly difficult to stand genome. Yet it provides power for new methods of stressing challenges to outbreak occur through spillward and reservoir influence, exemplifies the risk posed by rapid mutation of pathogen should be engineered the for world center and resistance to weapon and completely inoculation, new text interval, to every 3 and restrict the health security tech to be rapidly identify the threats of critical timely response, generally achieve ways for treating infection and antibiotics, vaccines, influenza, example of pathogens, is difficult to treat with these approaches, genome editing, as to change the direction of results providing new precision and ease of use, increasing the number of patents on CRISPR to genome editing, new cells, and quickly and efficiently use tools like CRISPR to block across all biological fields. CRISPR can shrink the security for pathogenic threats and developing treatments for CRISPR employs flexibility, and CRISPR diagnostics make highly affordable genome editing is a major advantage of restrictional drugs to target the genetic base of the disease requires time and cost of CRISPR potential for treating Abraham pathogen resistance can be targeted with CRISPR pandemics, cause extinction bomb. 23, the independent interaction with wildlife and pathogens show humans versus genetics is larger now than in history, killing more points of contact, global travel, urban density, more non-protective pathogens, primarily pathogen only killed a small portion of the population, equal sort of damage systems with high probability human extinction from pandemics, epidemics and civilization collapse, struggle, labor cause, disruption to food security, resulting in existing cognitive fitness and failure to engineering temperatures rapidly rise, resulting in a double catastrophe, combat the causes of the initial catastrophe, oversight committees, check the harms of discovering all the benefits of disease prevention, Rodriguez. 18, enhancing CRISPR disease prevention, some of the restoration benefits outweigh the risk and eradicating disease for the human race, fatal genetic disease that only benefit the CRISPR treatment is compelling, and ethically sound the issue of the patient while transparency holds researchers accountable, compelling rationale, evidence based justification of the process made homage to the oversight committee similar to in vitro genome editing is solved broadly by creating disease-preventing mutations independently infertility, causes the exchange of genomic. 18, genome editing eradicate disease, and genome editing provide multifactorial disease-preventing medicine because scientists induce mutation to prophylactic benefits as health intervention provides the genome sound infertility from genetic mutations are absurd, something to infertility, crime reduction, prompt human extinction, broadly gene editing makes humans extinction proof the economist. 19, new genetic technologies are accelerating society made over common diseases and new genomes are uncommon in diseases that open the door to incredible amount of application like genome sequencing to fight cancer diseases, healthcare application, only station along the way, huge consequences, technology and potential to do tremendous good by helping avoid extinction events that pathogens and warmer climate, fall from nuclear war, expiration of the sun, scenario 2 is enhancement genetic engineering is coming and causes extinction Jones. 9, humans will apply and employ tech genetically designed to future generation. Next, like engineering evolution, like replicatable community by peer primitive measures, and resources enhanced by exterminating the last of humans become a scene. It's highly likely to create a 24, the enhancement, innovation, technology, generational effects, and gene managed transportation in the long run, enhancement, divide humans and substitutes, accelerate innovation, humanity must decide the impact enhancement of our future, robust ethical system prevents black hole risk, otherwise extinction built in. 18, the human gene editing tools rapidly forward to gene editing precipitate the end of life, as you know, we don't know how to build the ethical safe forces, still see ruination, we haven't attracted the black hole, we've been lucky, no rarely towards the next phase with how much CRISPR takes a handful of scientists and organs to design babies, before long the years overflowing with little gray balls and increasingly possess the ability to set off clouds, it causes the next generation of bioterrorism, you husk, in the 16 divided a little bit more time here. Gene editing supports bioterrorism, more susceptible to disease and CRISPR weak regulation, the national security implications, setting standards, no technical discussion, publishing risk of AAS may be more rare effects than the consequence of regulating labs and embryos performed without oversight of labs, no regulations, science, and dangerous libraries, society babies, that causes extinction, Walsh. 20, deliberate out because of engineer pathogen spread fact to look quicker than anything, and if it countermeasures reproduce again and again, weapons of the planet, the threat may attack may not be difficult advances, and skill and funding machine needed gene edit, and the engineering used for biotech threats in the future of humanity like nothing else, like that most available would be a bioweapon. Patents intended to provide incentive for termite innovation warfare. 19, innovation spread by patent system encourages inventors to spend money and time they and homes able to obtain ownership that less motivated away from law, CRISPR and body, and the members time, money, research, genius, and crucial to incentivize best and brightest invest all in CRISPR should be drawn to inventors using CRISPR, however the spine supposed to be limited in nature.
I think it's already in the one I see that you sent.
No, it is?
You sent that's the right one, right?
Yeah.
Warford?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's the patent's good.
Yeah. It says like 1AC Greenhill, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's fine. Are you good for Gus?
Yeah.
How does the moral utility doctrine determine whether something's ethical or not?
It would hire experts. The PTAB would hire experts to determine on a case-by-case basis what
So the moral utility doctrine does not exist right now. Does the plan create that?
No. Courts have applied the moral utility doctrine. This is a specific application that differentiates between treatment and enhancement technologies.
But those people on staff for that moral utility doctrine do not exist already?
I mean, no. The PTAB would, again, hire experts to determine what is moral based on the moral utility doctrine.
Okay.
And that would differentiate.
But those people do not currently sit on the PTAB.
Okay, there are PTAB experts. The PTAB hires experts for lots of different things,
Okay, yeah, I know, but this whole moral utility doctrine does not.
The moral utility doctrine exists in other court cases.
That's fine. Could you give me an example? For example, if somebody were to have a disability that prevented them from walking, would they be able to get?
So gene editing only occurs at the embryo for the germline genome editing. So if someone is already born with a disability, that can't be undone by germline editing. But if they are kids, for example, would have a leg disability, they would predispose.
Wait, what's an example? What's an example of a current gene innovation that solves for pandemics that's being denied?
like a vaccine that, well, the whole point is that diseases are emerging and they're like new diseases.
What
so
disease
it's not,
is
obviously
emerging?
diseases now aren't going to cause extinction.
Okay,
but
what
news
disease
do
is
not,
emerging?
News do not, do you want me to give you a name of
Yes,
a disease that
please,
doesn't
like,
exist?
literally.
The disease does not exist.
Okay.
It's a new disease. It
Okay,
comes
but
from the
currently,
shoulder.
what has been struck down as not being able to, like,
Okay, so in the status quo, our argument is that innovation is going towards enhancement technologies and not being directed towards treatment technologies for diseases. And so there is no innovation in CRISPR for the germline in treatment
there's no,
technologies right now.
CRISPR is like booming in
Yes,
business
but that's
right now.
that's
Like,
over so important distinction. That's over somatic cells, not germline cells.
and so we're
Germline
not
cells
any
are like-
evidence that says that people want to use CRISPR to apply it to solving for things for like disease.
Yeah, or BCLRS evidence.
Which one?
The first part in the one you
They
see.
apply it in ways
They're-
we consider unethical.
Yes, they're applying it on.
No. This card says that they're applying it unethically now. Where do you have evidence that says that they need this to apply to solve for pandemics?
Walsh says you need
Here.
germline editing to apply.
Not Walsh.
No, it's
Drabiak and Rodriguez.
Okay, sure.
Drabiak and Rodriguez explained that an oversight committee would be able to allow for prophylactic benefits, which is where we create immunity by editing the germline to create immunity against diseases.
so only when it's in the embryo.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
that's
what
what germline
germline
editing is.
So, okay, so what about everybody who exists right now? Like, how do they not all wipe out because of disease?
Well, first of all, we've read evidence that the study of genome editing has benefits for vaccine distribution and things like vaccine development. Because
Why do
we know
people need
more-
patents to study it?
Because they have an incentive to study it and develop
Okay,
technology.
so just so that like the money.
It's about incentives, yeah.
Okay.
Patents are also key to regulation.
Yeah.
What do you mean by
It
regulation? Can you
regulates
explain that?
tech between, that's the whole PTAB, like moral utility
We
doctrine.
prevent
We prevent enhancement via
patents,
permit.
but allow for.
Why can another system not also do that? Why does it have to be?
The Mosby card says patents act as a unique regulatory mechanism,
Why?
or because
It says patents,
temporally
why?
they intervene at the correct moment. If you
Why
go
can
too
another
early,
people
if
do
you go
that?
too early before the benefits are realized, you could foreclose.
Like, why
technology.
specifically about patents?
It is extremely specific. to
Okay,
patents.
sure. Okay, there we go. It's gonna be 9, yeah, or 8, no 8, yeah, 8 off in case.
I've not read.
I've not gotten it either.
But yeah, we're gonna take a second to prep real quick.
I have it.
Oh gosh, yeah,
I'll give that to you.
okay. 9:57.
I still went on.
It's gonna take a minute.
Yeah, I have a Yahoo debate email.
Oh boy.
Blue Valley like bans,
Yeah,
you know?
I use my school laptop, but it was either this or speech drop, so
Yes, speech up 0. Is Yahoo like really like slow?
chill. It's okay. I'm asking for a laptop for my birthday, so okay. 2 months.
Do you wanna try sending
Yeah, I'll
it to
just-
me? And then I'll send it.
Are you not on Yahoo?
No. This is on my school computer.
I just sent it to you, Mom.
I'm guessing by the time I send it, Myra's is gonna get there, but it's fine. I might as well just do it.
Teachers in here. Teachers.
I have no idea.
So y'all
We
get the
got it.
email. Okay.
Did
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Open it. 1 sec.
You good?
But yeah, I think that's it.
Are we all good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Two substances mean throughout WPA and should mean throughout violation. After touching the entire patents, they only increase the eligibility for gene editing and body patents for like allowing by U6 topic exposed to topic to tiny apps. They don't even choose susceptible and net ground exploding limits themselves. Teaching that strength means increasing immutable for. Strength that is defined as increasing, and protection means enforcement of existing rights. 14. Protection means very different things in IP law. Protection means enforcing private property, exclusive rights, and integration, and that's distinct from creating a new right. You're 24. Limited number of material techniques operate shall not sort of avail protect right but not create right. These maximum terms being valid techniques are available only when pre-existing right legal remedial techniques operate within other bodies law legal in the case of which already are given by law and violation of expense IP rights which don't exist now does not show the protection of existing IP right and voting issue for limiting ground there means anything in the universe that's eligible cannot be enough making meaningful and prep impossible next up. The Western construction is rooted in a Western tradition which necessarily express colonial violence, violent activity, colonization, paradigms, centering and issues in knowledge. 19. Metaphysical belief system between concepts of value for research of reality the most common also for research tradition and digital research has been all been accepted as the respect as co-equals the manifestation of ontological questions result of Western science being exported alongside coloniality. Indigenous scholars face articulating people's research paradigms decolonizing including indigenous knowledge and academia that cannot indigenous paradigms are so distinct they cannot be subsumed beneath their own category. Next up, the United States federal government skip that. The United States federal government should eliminate bans on targeted genomic editing research, substantially increase research development of targeted genomic editing, including funding the National Institute of Health and Research University Institution, exercise regulatory control and oversight over human genome editing through the use of specialized regulations tailored specifically just research involving hereditary human gene editing, including penalties and punishments for violations of provide this technology to American companies and other countries that show their interest, fees, patents, develop programs to increase cryptocurrency, financial literacy, and provide information to potential investors about cryptocurrency, and require that research involves hereditary gene editing and modifying human embryos can be reviewed or approved by the NIH, and overruling Empiric's theory proves that patents bulldoze innovation, bull control, because against patents know if they increase innovation or correlation productivity and patents have consequences considered theories that emphasize competition drives innovation. Historical evidence suggests that patents increase innovation with side effects and monopolies or disincentives as innovators to illegal action licensing DGs. Subject to innovations is held up as many case studies life cycle of industries, get the credit industries. The 50 states and relevant subnational actors, including the National Government Association, ought to expand the administration of federal programs into the United States, including the judiciary, should expand patent eligible subject matter to ethical human germline editing, genome editing products. It competes and solves conditioning the plan over fiat, results in federal adoption and aggressively expands dual sovereignty. Bill 21. The states of sovereign rivals, federalism, recognize dependence on the power to push back against substates and allow to program to seek to change. These incorporator states succeed in changing law, exploit gaps and regulatory screens and college and fed policy states, refusing a program or structure. This has an effect on the Fed government relies on states resisting conjunction with the Fed admins were cooperative, the federal authorities agree to comply, and restoring states' sovereignty and counterbalances governance failures from federal encroachment extinction. McCall's 19. We also face economic and security challenges from proliferating Korea access and terror. These are outside of the greater cost of a problem that we are failures within the years. This causes failing governance, transfer of power from states or so much of the Fed race, triggered to lobbying, negotiation impossible, and create a highly imbalanced system unless we fix. We address system failures to fix the process will never get solutions to societal challenges or discuss. Return of power so the states authorities dysfunctional will only get worse. Next up, the office of the Law Revision Council should insert a provision that interrelevant tasks clarify that they obligate expanding patent eligible subject matter to ethical human germline genome editing and the counterbalance of by inserting the plaintiff to non-positive law portion of the U.S. code that's proceeded as binding and avoids politicization cross-running. OLRC performs several tasks for codification levels for Congress. OLRC process of Congress for formal enactment as positive law. There are 20 additional factors that must receive as an additional for enacted files. OLRC also conceptualizes organizes how Congress does not vote on OLRC added to because Congress has little interest in doing so. OLRC has significant discretion and performance of these functions. They may all agree or even add statutory text more than half an enacted text to U.S. code notes and such notes and otherwise extinction broadly 20. COVID is called upon us to come collaborative highly vigilance to protect the using of Ontario and WMD's commander connect global demands global response to partisan politics, tamper effective response, make it harder to tackle existential threats, climate change, and nuclear weapons. Come on. Do you not have patent ban under the term? It's fine. Just go to case. It's okay.
Okay, go to case. One disease, stump COVID, past plague, and can't solve other countries develop diseases as well, and disease doesn't cause extinction for 17. Pandemics are unlikely to cause extinction of the record extinction less than 4% worse respiratory disease. None of our globally dispersed factors also contribute to species very numerous global diseases capable of responsive very unlikely to be killed off highly lethal pathogens kill before they spread to the selective pressure. Not to be lethal pathogens co-evolve and rather than kill a host. And gene editing fails. Skip 4. Christopher, what?
Yeah.
Don't read
that card. Read that card. Go back up. Next. Go back to the advantage counter plan.
Go back to the advantage counter plan. And bounty solved better than 16.
No, read the advantage counter plan text.
Oh, you told me to skip it.
No, read the text.
Okay, the United States federal government should establish a process for innovation and National Innovation Council cooperating with the OSCC to create research and development programs for ethical human germline genome editing products for replicas more to judging system by hiring an onboard experts to determine whether use of innovation is ethical and implement an integrated moral bounty system for ethical human germline genome editing products for replica with more utility deduction system by hiring an onboard experts to determine whether the invention is ethical, abolish biotech patents, abolish patents. And bounty solve better than 16. And remember, your bounty system is a state of enterprise are to who once and for all ways. The investor plays an valuable innovation in exchange for a exchange or moral bounties property. Innovation collects access to AI over time. This brings valuable and tradable assets and market condition. On market sales, over time, payment goes as well innovations, ensuring the competitive provision of that system can be used to market sales innovations and ports of information asymmetries and prices. Yeah. Okay.
Did you?
And I have one on the other thing.
Oh, did you actually?
Yeah.
Okay, read this.
And patent skill cybersecurity 2020. Computer systems vulnerabilities affect collective defensive assertion of weakened competition. Multiple studies show that competition encourages from standards of cybersecurity, monoculture, increasing vulnerability, severe cyber attacks. We need inclination to share information security, increase the competitiveness, increase the monopoly self-worth, failure, responsibility, single vendor, opening systemic failure in the case of monoculture, especially concerning black and origin, avoiding system of fuzz standards as many as possible, competitive technologies, essential cybersecurity, and cyber attacks going to nuclear 19. Cyber attack on C3 justify these nuclear weapon C3 highly vulnerable, grave high risk to see vulnerabilities, disabilities, risk nuclear escalation, cyber attacks on C3, greater escalation of a war recipient might fear launch on weapons immediately, uncertainty could jeopardize the nuclear deterrent, state may misinterpret, confuse, and launch its own nuclear weapon. Okay, next off, Congress should unanimously pass legislation that protects patents by expanding patent-eligible subject matter to ethical human genome edited products. The President should append a signing statement declaring that the protection by patents for expanding patent-eligible subject matter to ethical human genome editing products is unconstitutional and unenforceable. Congress should confer causative action and sue the President for rendering the statutes avoid ab initio, complete those all-signing statements and all by the law making, Theme 22. Executives pursuing empire for empires, evidence signing statement, matters describe the law in his favor, discretion, nonsense, not a signal word, and announced authority. Better is no ground, but you choose either sign or veto. Atlanta veto is not an option. Echoed by the court in Clinton v. New York, the ABA concluded statements are extra constitutional statements handicap for BVN, impairing congressional leverage. Congress done nothing to direct statements of mushroom use, and this abandons a will escape challenge and nuclear warfare should redo. The signing statement nullifies statute to limit war power mission. Signing statement was that he could act without authority use from Iraq, Somalia, Afghanistan without once receiving authority. Trump and Biden both took actions without Congress. The president, if court has secured a specific miscount and error is made, presidential military action need more scrutiny. The specter of nuclear does not justify power of emergency, requires action to the force, then requires a retroactive rule of deliberation of essence. That chance of mistakes, contemporary threats exceed expectation. Go back to case. Gene therapy fails variability causing commercialization controversy. Significant variability in a graph gene corrected occurs ever since different studies ago with gene therapy trials. And academic study many of these causes are much lower than building a commercial setting. The cell processing materials and GMP costs and no bioterror impact cross 21. Third terrors and bioagents limited third neighbor materialized groups such as the veteran material for focus on toxins, such as known casualties resulted from decades long injuries. Note that NIH report that large scale production of literally is inherently difficult with us favoring small scale attacks.
Do you have more time?
Yeah, I have a lot of time.
Read this part. Read the bottom.
And try to solve, go back up to the range current plan. Try to solve aberrance 3. The proposal answers these problems by giving a discretion to more to the patent holders will not be able to review decision aids or what form is government eliminates the need for creative such forms cannot predict systematic biases system will always hypothetical form of writing social ethical. President immediately system laws holders such as the most efficient method for limiting dead rate.
Okay.
Can you send?
Yeah. Make sure this is right. Yeah. My other face just loading. Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Want to see more?
Yeah, I'm downloading it. Give me a sec.
Good, good name.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to be clear on what exactly you did and did not read. You read everything in this document, the original one you sent out, plus the signing statements counterplan. Right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Signing statements. If Congress wins the suit, does the USFG pass the plan?
Yeah, or
if Congress wins the suit, the
Yeah.
plan happens.
Yes, okay. Plan is fiated if Congress wins the suit. Gotcha. The OLRC quasi-counterplan, you said you insert a provision into relevant titles. Why is this fiat non-positive law?
Like, what do you mean?
You said a provision. Like the real counterplan actually says a no source provision, not just any provision. This counterplan is not non-positive law. Explain why it is.
Like, what do you mean by non-positive law?
That's what your counterplan is, NPL. That's
Okay.
the meaning of it is that it's not doesn't carry the force of law.
Wait, I'm confused. Like,
Your counterplan says a provision. That is not a no source provision by mandate. So you're not non-positive law. So you don't solve an end benefit.
how? I'm confused. How are we not non-positive?
Because you're a provision by the OLRC. The no source provision is a specific kind of provision that inserts it like a grammatical edit basically for statutes that makes it like not binding. This counterplan is binding because you just insert a provision into U.S. code. It's what the counter or status of the counterplans.
Conditional.
Okay.
Was ASPEC hidden or anything like that?
Great. Are in this like the second advantage counterplan?
Or set call the alternate?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Set call. Do you fiat the alt?
I'll just reject the one I see.
Great. Okay. The second advantage counterplan. Who does the research and development?
The wait, the bounties one or the?
The second one, the longer paced one.
Oh, okay. Who does the research and development?
Yeah.
Like research and development.
Like
companies,
government or
like,
private actors?
Private actors.
Private actors? I mean, your counterplan does not. Your counterplan says increase research and development, so that's object.
The United States federal government would be able to do things like encourage other private companies to innovate by providing them.
Okay, so the actual counterplan is like subsidies. So, like to be clear, when you say increase R&D, which is object field,
Like,
you mean
okay,
subsidies.
like increasing research and development can look like the government creating new programs, hiring new people in order
the
to
government.
boost innovation in
Okay,
those
the
sectors.
government is hiring more people, so it's governmental R&D.
Yeah, but again, they would collaborate with
Okay,
other private
great,
sectors
great.
in order to ensure the best
Yeah,
innovation
I got
programs.
that.
Like,
The plank about solving enhancement stuff, specialized regulations tailored to quote specifically address research involving hereditary gene editing. Why is this the moral utility doctrine?
Well, so basically, like regulatory control, like and looking at the ethicality of like human genome.
Yeah, you look at the ethicality, but you don't
Or, like,
fiat
address
the moral utility doctrine.
it's
But
the
exact same thing.
It's not.
Okay.
It's
7:30. Somehow. We're 7:30 starting now. Okay. 7:25.
Did you send it already?
Yeah, it took a while to send and load, so it's.
You.
In the meanwhile, is everyone good for an order? Yeah, it's going to be the advantage, T subsets, T pre-existing, set call, signing statements, uncooperative federalism, the NPL OLRC counterclaim, the intertemporal bounties counterclaim, and then the advantage.
Give me 1 second to download it. Okay. It's. I'm okay.
Geo, are you good?
Oh, yeah. I'm good. Want to see what numbers are wrong? Mutant sisters now are worse than ever because existing mechanisms can't solve for recombination and mutations of existing diseases. That's waters. Yes, we can solve other countries, companies commercialize innovation, selling them internationally to prevent them for the profit motive, and there's some populations domestically that still live, preventing extinction. Yes, it does cause extinction. Disease causes extinction. One, they'll cause the entire population by spreading between humans, urban density, and global travel. Make one virus spread fast. Two, it could also civilizational collapse to market. It's climate change disruptions. Three, pandemics impede geoengineering of the stratosphere, otherwise causing double catastrophe. That's all bomb. Waters index Farquhar says that diseases that Farquhar sites are impossible. That Farquhar says are impossible are coming now because of insufficient mechanisms in the status quo. And Farquhar's from 2017 before evidence is from 2023 and citing 6 PhDs. Yes, gene therapy. To group their cards, they're bad. One, the plant solves its first innovations in the fields by allowing companies to secure patents. That's philosophy and medicine. Two, it's rapidly scaling up since 2024. Passing consistent genomic transition for acid procedure transport of force-based editing or safer and more predictable advances outside CRISPR will drive tech in new direction. Terminal editing or just cannot be overstated. Research editing is bright, has potential to drive research breakthroughs and revolutionize medicine, laying foundation for healthier in the future. The attempt to enhance humans for design maybe creates a risk that dangerous CRISPR technologies fall into the hands of bioterrorists. Leads them to spread around the globe. That's Walsh and Newhouse. Their defense is wrong. It doesn't assume designer maybe labs giving the capabilities to terrorists. And they dropped a couple scenarios, dropped interspecies war, infertility, and black holes, all cause extinction. Dropped extinction proofing solves every counterplan, makes us extinction proof and immune from a laundry list of threats. And then I'm going to start patents. Bad debate here. Companies pursue unethical avenues of CRISPR innovation towards enhancement, not treatment. That's BCLRS. Patents provide incentives for germline innovation. That's one I see. More forward, they're not just for innovation. They also shape trajectories of innovation to regulate. That's Mossy Panacea Proctor Strategy 18. Patents to much more than shape innovation trajectories, decision to rank patents and what type of tech generates social markets, Congress use patents to control atomic weaponry, and everything is good specifically for patents, quality 23. We should find out when biopharma company innovates revenue grows higher and need patents with higher taxation, so patent structure for low R&D companies pursuing numbers of patents is not desirable. Biotech need a large amount of capital to develop therapeutic, exhaustive investment without rewards. Companies to study R&D are capable of bringing therapeutic to the market. Higher patent dilution interest, they're more capable of being a requirement. Company can secure economic research on security development is costly. Only 16% will be improved near trigger no competition competitors and mainly announced sustained robust R&D to ensure higher success. Position patents, patent protect their work, useful innovation, rent use, or run seeking that's a space of social benefit. Future R&D resources expel small companies. No thick, it's Olsen 23. Our R&D
endangered by patent are specific to genes, patent things concerned. Misplaced evidence indicates small percentage of prevented innovations have managed to clear list fields by industry standards for not enforcing events, different licensing of essential patents. Empirical studies show same genes covered by patents are subject to research products and the ODT substance. 1. We meet the plain changes eligibility requirements that affect all patents. 2. Plain text based in a vacuum. 3. Key to after objectivity. 3. Counter trip in means within the limits of restrictions in use indicate inclusion within limits. 4. Prefer 1 after picture and people and limits the topic to few affirmatives. 2. Predictability. Their evidence is about counting law. Ours comes from the most common in dictionary. And 5. Functional limits. Sui generis. Cap clog. Units. Counterpoints. Other words. Check. 6. Reasonability. Good is good enough. Prevents substance crowd out. Cross supply to the other flows. T. Pre-existing. 1. The function of the plan allows for a change of distribution of current rights. 2. Plain text in a vacuum. 3. Prediction by PR expansion of eligibility. Which 15. Short restrictions was used because of the rocks and all the projector referred to the land. Limits of rights through IP. Rights based model only large influenced by white prefer a predictably or evidence collects the framers from which all IPs derive from. 0 says no intent to define as a Frankenstein to create an intro. B. Background. Big changes from the square or keeping getting big advantage. Set call 1. Framework A with AF against links to the planes beyond implication. Their interpretation moves the AF towards defense for office fairs is the only impact on core clutch eliminates educational benefits. 2. In terms of both solves and shields. 3. Extinct outweighs willing design and irreversible, which includes any alternative within life, including the K. 5. Can't solve. A. Doesn't do the AF. B. The all gets cracked down by the state. Fascist Republicans will crack down and do everything to prevent it. 6. Strike off all performative contradictions if they're right about performances and that they do have an effect, then you vote AF because they've also engaged in unethical behavior in this debate. Signing statements. 1. No internal. A. No spillover. Single signing statement doesn't solve a broad regime of governments. And B. Turn increases infighting and polarization. Cost and trust. 7. There are many officials who might have handed implementation signing statement provides the president's direction, although the Constitution does make the president chief of its tax advantage. Administration will be placed in the hands of other Congress for a regulatory authority on an agency, not the president. The president by conflict over his interpretation and efforts to resolve. And the C. There's no impact. Polarization is the status quo, and it won't occur under Trump because he has the trifecta. 2. Permanent counterplan is the way the plan moved on. 3. Permanent counterplan. The gap should refer to the future Brown. 8. Should look to the future considering possible future events, and per definitions must pass the predictability test before evaluating their impact on debatability. Interpretations ungrounded and stable evidence are worthless. Unstable evidence are worthless. More permanent the plan and the counterplan or other issues solves internal and benefit counterplans must be textually and functionally competitive, maximize the germane comparison, after and objectivity. The Russell Wilson of the text. 5. Can't solve. Certainty is key to the AF. Investors have to see that the signal is key to adopt it internationally and invest. 6. Firm to both solves the internal uncooperative federalism. 1. No internal. A. No single instance of uncooperative federalism doesn't solve a broad shift in federalism. B. No impact. A. I can vary 15. Critical and stabilizing our world of radical power distribution of America. The outside world can see policymakers at work. Reach of a hedge has been driven by efforts to render power predictable, mature institution made predictable, regularized way. Policies made to reduce the fry. SOP creates a system that reduces the moves of messiness, can confuse foreign research. Permanent the counterplan. 3. Permanent counterplan. And then the AF. 4. Permanent the plan and the counterplan on other issues. 5. Can't solve. Congress will say no because they aren't scared of the state. 6. Perm to both solves the internal and no impact. The only line that mentions states being better at governance concedes all causes and that it takes 30 years to solve. OLRC. 1. No internal. A. No silver. Their internal is descriptive of the status quo, not that the OLRC needs to stake out a new rule now and 0 risk. B. No impact. A tiny agency in Congress can't overcome decades of disagreement and polarization. C. Text law. They don't say which part of the U.S. code the North provision is inserted to. 2. Permanent the counterplan is the way the plan could be done. 3. Permanent the counterplan. Then the AF solves the internal. 4. Permanent the plan and the counterplan on other issues. 5. Can't solve. A. Authority. The OLRC only has the power to clarify and reorganize the code, not to enact new policies like totally changing countable subject matter. That's their own evidence, which means that the USPTO courts and Congress won't adopt it, and so the regulation won't be effective. B. Certainty is key. Signaling U.S. resolve via labor investments is critical to follow on. That's Fidel was key, and this grammar, the office, and the counterplan text is ambiguous as to which office got solves these 6 perm to both prizes. 1. Perm to both. 2. Perm to the counterplan. 3. Perm to the plan in all and to abolish in all other instances and do it with every single combo of the plank. Perm to the plan and abolish in every instance except germline patents. Do it with every plank. 4. Can't solve. Prizes fail. A. Interest group setting order. Public auction prevents waters down. That's Mendocino. Insert for reference. B. Is harmonization. Matthew 2. Trips 11. 6. But which is necessary to protect order, public, and morality. Some have narrow approach and abstain from enacting morality clauses. 2. 72. States option concerning patentability. Some include patentability of human and german modification. Others not even concern morality clauses. Large number that have morality exceptions to enforce them. Since local offices do not conduct examination jurisdiction without include the U.S. There are no exception for provision U.S. law corresponding morality exceptions. Patentability. C. Seemingly absent of establishing themselves as a leading power in gene editing. Other countries implement patents unethically and unsafely. Exile whiskey and serve for reference. And D is regulation. D is the predictions. Count 20. 4. Prices transformation into commercial innovation need to overcome any asymmetric info applicants no more than administrating panel models to account cognitive dissonance, even if administered perfectly replicate market mechanism, credibility to diminution, and expected return of range in space. Intractable challenges mimicking a market capacity arise such cumulative effort races when lie involved misallocation many compete but only one administering innovation imply one option forecloses others markets live decisions lead to greater varieties of central virtue decentralized system. The 6. No internal. A the perm solves. B. Not guaranteed the U.S. military will rely upon faulty text. C. Thumpers fishing physical entrenchments backdoors already create vulnerabilities, and C, no impact. The decades of attacks disprove escalation long run. 22, there's a mismatch between experts and states have employed offensive capabilities since the 80s, and prevalent number of incidents over decades reach questions about how likely cyber escalation would take place. Marketplace. D, attribution, there's no way to know who did it. Advantage. 1, permanent develop, 2, permanent counterplan, 3, links, 3, pursue any plank without an advocate doesn't solve. If analytically asserted it does, so analytically asserted it doesn't. And 4, permanently the plan and abolish in other instances and freeze in other instances, and do this with every plank. 6, can solve. Patents for regulation are superior to any other regulation scheme. That's Mosby, and the regulation alone fails. Companies work around it to, or condos of owner solves. 1, straight tricks, maximization clash in education. 2, fairness can't be best ideas ever met.
They permanently process on NPL.
On NPL, permanently the plan for the process of the counterplan, back to the advantage counterplan, regulation alone fails. 2A22. Just over the drum of the orders for legislation relating to CRISPR companies, utilize perfect funding, operate and review regulations. Market regulations.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So if genome editing is like scaling up now, why do we need the plan?
Because it's the entire premise of the app, right? Innovation is occurring in bad places now. The
Like
app redirects in enhancement technology.
No. The card you read in the 2AC talks about like disease prevention as well. Like, how does that not disprove why the plan's not needed?
It says, it also isn't saying that it's happening now. It says it has the potential, but it's not being actualized. And that CRISPR will drive tech in new directions.
Yeah, so why do we need the plan?
Because to drive it in the directions
But
away from enhancement and towards treatment.
Why? Okay.
I think you're overreading this card. It just says that
you read the lines
breakthroughs
for
may
it. That's
occur.
why we asked the question. It's fine.
Okay.
It just says they may occur, not that they are happening. We've read other evidence which is descriptive of the status quo, which says they're occurring in bad places.
Okay, the K, if the alt is just to reject the 1AC, why does crackdown matter?
I don't think I said
Yeah.
crackdown.
That's fine.
I think crackdown matters because then in this round, like the state's gonna crack down on us. So it's Montgomery Bell Academy, and there are a lot of feds just lurking in the hallways usually.
Okay.
They're ops there.
Sure, that's fine. The circumvention deficit, I'm confused about why this is a deficit.
Yeah, so if you don't allow and create a form of regulation for private companies, then they will find a way for private companies to pursue innovation, and they'll find ways around regulation, which the counterplan creates. And so since the counterplan is only public R&D, or at least this one, then private companies will find a way around the regulations the counterplan creates, and then they will pursue enhancement technology inevitably.
Okay, so I'm assuming it's the same thing with the next card about offshoring. It's just.
I did not read that.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, reasons to reject.
Condo.
Just condo. Okay.
What is blackball risks? Can you explain it?
Yeah, so blackball risks are innovations that we don't know what they are, but they hold existential potential, and every germline enhancement development increases the risk that we extract a blackball, but by implementing ethical guidelines, we can prevent the blackballs to be extracted.
Wait, but blackballs can be extracted through other innovations absent gene, like gene editing. Why can't you stop those?
I mean, those are all causes, yes, but every blackball is existential, which means that you have to prevent the blackball.
Could you give me I don't really know what's a blackball.
That's the entire point. That's why it matters so much, because you don't know the existential risk, so existing measures and intervening actors can't solve for our scenario, but they can for you.
Wait, what is
you modify one gene and then it might disrupt our system.
Create gray goo.
What the hell? When has that ever happened before?
It hasn't. That's our unique.
What's the warrant in your card that says
our
that?
built-in evidence is describing the nature of innovation and explains how we've been lucky so far.
Where does it say? Does it talk about genes?
Yes, it is. It talks about ethics or peace.
10 minutes. What was the edit? There was one more. Wait, the 2AC said infertility, blackball, and what's the third one?
Interspecies war.
Economist.
Yeah, extinction proof. And disease and bioterror.
Just everything in the one I see.
Well, obviously, I was saying the 2AC at the end said these 3 impacts. That's what I was asking about.
Oh, yeah.
You're fine. It is, yeah, get that.
And you should read the other ones too.
that was in my block other than Turner, which I'll get you answers to. How much would I'm just gonna read off your computer and you'll send it. Begin. 5:30. I'm sending out the doc right now. This is round 2. It's sending right now. Okay. Is everybody good for an order? It's going to be the first, like the prices advantage kind of plan, not going with the no advocates. Then it's going to be the, I'm going to do like condo, then the advantage. Actually, the advantage, then condo. What was I at before prep time?
You read 5:30.
5:30. 5:26. Okay. Is anybody not ready?
So prize is condo case.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
But prize is case content.
Okay.
Prizes case comment.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Do you read it? Oh wait. Actually, how much do I have by 5? 26. I'm like, my map's completely on documents.
do both. But even if it would also fail because a combination reduce the incentive to innovate. That's a Roman show 3 that also just a common pool the government decision making to be taken into account, penalizing wasteful rent seeking, and the proposal not require the patent patent would encourage innovator to continue the trading off of the patents for releasing it or to research and social benefit, even if the patentable discovery of this information is worthless. And innovation to patent is very short to get the counterplan if they would a permutation is logical extension of conditionality. Permutation to the counterplan obviously severance to counterplan to not do patents. Any other instances, again, they must specify. They need to specify the one area new answers. Also, the other ones as well. The A is interest groups. That's wrong. First, the interest groups is definitely wrong. There's no picking winners. Deficit as a whole, the market-based systems of bounties prevents that from being an issue ever. But even if their card is bad, the Masato evidence does not make an argument on why the public doctrine would be watered down if it was just a replica of it in the first place. But the other plan definitely solves for any of the things. But the counterplan would also avoid it by design. That's a Roman show 3. Investing price over discretion decision maker with the opposite disability. The price over effective decision is insufficient because it leads to disputes over contribution. And the agency might be awarding others simply by bearing the single price more effectively as long as the agency is expert. No way the criteria over the appropriate amount the average investor then taking out decisions in the first place. Now, B, harmonization, wrong. I did that above in the overview. The signaling deficit, they can create their own systems of bounties and prizes. That's able to solve. The court just needs that they want to see the U.S. leading something. Does not say it needs to be patents. It just says it needs to be an innovation. And that is protection, which is the affirmative plan does. But even if sufficiency framing should take that out because there's no impact to that in the first place. Prediction is also wrong. Solved by the replication. Solved by replication. That was bounties overview done above, which means that there's no deficit. The cyber D self-conceded, not going for that impact. We're going for it. It's a straight turn to the case. The biotech patent's bad. I'm going to do that here. Go to the case now. Biotech patents are biotech innovation, which extends to pandemic responses. That's their internal scenarios and every other one versus evergreen companies extend the lack of patents, making able to do minute tweaks to drugs, blocking new drugs from entering the field. That's an evidence. Second is biotech pharma will get the system that there's multiple pathways. That's broad 24. The tickets are prevalent among companies that seek to extend their exclusivity, monopoly production beyond the original patents. It could be to low cost standards, but evergreen adding new patents for expire. Their argument about how it would be good for how that would not be bad for tickets is wrong. First, you should go and read the card. None of their evidence is specific about biotechnological patents, but instead it's just about broader in the whole. But even if the card that they read about tickets does not say that it would not happen, just that there's other ways to check back. But we run an argument about how it would be so it would be at a magnitude that's much larger than small instances as a past. But second is patent wars. New production costs fights to determine that they're deterring innovation. That's true. 14 patent wars, battles between giants that will live for the tumbles to the lawsuits or base manufacturing kits is all profit. Corporate changeables to be fights over patent info. IP protection 91 where 9% that have resulting injunctive release, and that shatters growth and innovation. That's running 13 patents were intended to promote growth into the CV to achieve the opposite. PTO rewarded for the patent for running at the SJ to them nothing more than to reshape the blockage and to renew its market, determine that consumers paying high prices until costs are going to be for lawsuits. Due diligence required to ensure that there will not be a target of deterring entry the cost of spilling $80 billion to random patents and allowing for infringement of financial gain to companies to defend the patents may be possible for the running infringement lawsuits to break into millions and looking for other paths where they consider the opportunity for the now using capital productive ways and also the R&D they got to be able to suffer by reducing with the competition. 3 is delay. Companies play smaller startups to wait to enter, which makes research slow and hurts effective pandemic response. 4 is thickets. Most patents are bought out by the block entry monopolized product and choking access to capital by threatening entrance in lawsuits. That's ignoring evidence that is more predictive than their evidence who's just a patent hack who just wants for them to be more things in the market. He just really wants Myriad to be overturned. That's the only reason why he's writing. You should go read the article. Is pretty bad. And 5 is product hopping. That first 24 product hopping companies favor 4% of the changing industries markets. New products to take over the products and monopolies and patent owners shifting is shuffling innovation. 6 is studies such as 23 comprehensive analysis by patenting pharma of a few effective products in the FDA and the patent amount of innovation alone and decreases the few over time. We look at the probability via extent to we have to defend the decline of the families and signaling rates and patent takers for stronger barrier limitation according to analysis and patents about the legal barriers to protect the monopolies rather than rewarded innovation. Second prize, patents drive me to drugs which harm consumers and index their effectiveness from being able to solve for pandemic situation. 24 is for patent law encourages innovation. Harmful drugs and pharma will be their drug detected that affects the higher just not because the lower considered obvious me to drugs already existing and they're reducing the demand for the available drugs under intended to achieve for beneficial innovation that exists in the patent would not be able to affirm because R&D would exceed the result of once they get their patent they copyright for to return to opening patents to follow on drugs which would be so harmful and that leads to wrong innovation which turns blackball risk. That's why 24 many of the innovations are all patent law treated as all is good is better regulated avoid them in innovation the government operate the opposite based on the knowledge without the risk of the patent law to suit that better encouragement utility requirements to list we should not have ourselves living in the most patent pharmaceutical wonder drugs health that the exhibitors do not have the lawsuits which should be the encouragement offer effective in the face of certainty it's written 9 tests who solve patents. Actually I'm going to concede their evidence that the tweets he read on the case that talks about how there's already gene innovation that is occurring right now which means that there's no reason why we would need the act to happen in the first place. That takes out any of their uniqueness claims which means that innovation is high right now. Don't let them try and spin their evidence and say what it is not. I heard QVC say the words about pandemic response and how that gene innovation is already occurring in the first place. The counterplan is able to solve for any of the bad regulation that is being innovated, so you know you should default negative in the first place. 10 is trolls. That's 10, 20 years ago, circulating the litigation and NPS dismissed patent litigation cycling for innovation and things that have $1 trillion effect that startups have being the ability to grow and innovate the NFT to give for the decide to defend it. Little the model relies legal litigation and significant value of market law, so the case and risk change carries 29%, and then MBA investors no lottery strategies and the technological progress affect both statistically and economically have significant broader defined no literature and big. Now the other arguments he made, all of them were answered about with the gene theory. First, the gene editing capability stuff. The counterclaim definitely solves the case. I'm not going to do a lot of impact defense on the case because the patent's bad street terms at all, and also I'm going to do conditionality is good. Counterinterpretation, we go with data first and next. They can pick the most strategic outfit for that all the time and against every angle. Condos heat attack back against next seconds arc innovation. Two is a risk averse condos heat testing new position threes. After construction, efficacy forces when they see are necessary and sufficient limits out battles. So that defensive plan force negation theory. No reject non-resolution theory is arbitrary because it's more derivable from first principles. Infinite things can make debate martial and more fair. That's infinitely regressive force. If happens info crossing force situates, usually choices and making right way to knowledge. Seven is logic theories and vote for a policy that's worse than the scope. Use inevitable reads the T, K links and T's. And doing speech drill stuff are often concede reasonability from T. Good is good enough to spend. It's bad versus net ground unless I pick the worst two in order. Force it to and takes and two counterplane second. It's can't solve two its worth of positive counterplanes and force perms. Which turns to research three is paradoxical. And two ways can run from two other things. And four is arbitrary definition shifted. Impossible for the meaning in the first place. But I'm gonna go back up and biotech form and makes it by minor changes to patent lifetime. Actually, no, I don't even need to read that card. It's fine.
Good for cross-X?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, first I want to talk about the planning queue, the Senate at the top. So what does this regulatory oversight committee look like?
Yeah, it just looks like the government hiring experts the same way that the affirmative would in order to ensure that there are like systems to be able to determine what's ethical and what's not in the same way that the moral utility doctrine.
Okay, yeah, but I'm more confused about how that's enforced, right? So like penalties, that stuff, where do you think your counterplan specifies the levels of penalties or punishments so then the government can like effectively enforce
The government would have a system for that. The same
So-
way,
yeah.
the same way that the 1AC has no evidence describing what the moral utility doctrine would rule on.
Okay,
how it
we do
determines-
have that. I'm
No,
asking about
there's
your
no,
solvency.
There's no evidence
Look,
in the 1AC.
Geo can decide if the 1AC solves or not. I'm asking
Exactly.
about 2NC
We should be held to the
solvency.
same. It's not a 2AC
Okay.
counterplan is read in the 1AC, but
I'm asking about 2NC solvency, right? So, or the solvency of the counterplan extended to 2NC, right?
Okay.
I'm confused about where the punishments and penalties are defined, or like how much these are, or whether these are enough for investors. Like, how do you think your counterplan is able to solve these things?
Okay, we think that it would be enough to deter investors from wanting to.
How much is that?
It would be like pretty significant. Like it would take like half. It would take all their money away if they were to innovate these things.
Oh, okay. So then it takes all their money away if they pursue enhancement.
Yeah, that's
right?
like an example of one.
Okay.
It could like put them in jail too, like prosecute them.
Oh, okay. So they would put them in like U.S. jails and stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like prosecute
Yeah.
them. Okay. Let's walk through your like patents bad warrants. Patent wars. Your evidence is describing big tech patent wars. Why do you think this applies to gene editing?
Because obviously big tech companies are going to be the ones who run and race to try and innovate big like gene editing.
Oh wait. Okay.
products.
So big tech is gonna run to take over big pharma's debate.
What? That's not the argument I'm making. It's like an example of how when big tech has new abilities to patent things that were once not in the past, they run to it and they try and like innovate it too.
So like, why would like Google want to start patenting like gene technology when like
sorry,
Eli
wait,
Lilly,
okay.
Pfizer,
Okay,
Moderna,
I
all
might
these
have misspoke. It's an example on how big companies are able to like when they see the opportunity to take advantage of something that's new and patentable, they fight over that in court and that causes patent wars. We think that same theory can be applied to things like big pharma because they're in the same system.
Okay, I'm a little bit confused how could you just walk me through the process? Or let's talk about trolls. Why does litigation of trolls block out innovation?
Because it discourages people from wanting to innovate because they believe that their product has already been innovated by trolls who do not actually innovate anything.
Oh, okay, so it's about small startups and their belief.
It's
about
not
whether or
just
not
small
they-
startups, it's any company wanting to innovate, which decks your internal links about people innovating to solve for disease. blah, blah, blah.
I get I get the impact to it, but I'm more confused about why. Like, you just like this card is just like saying, it's just saying like an argument someone has, but how have trolls empirically decreased innovation?
Yeah, it talked about how non-practicing entities are the ones who are creating these things. So i.e. like pharmaceutical companies who are not actually pursuing what like the goals of what the product that they're innovating is.
Okay.
So it's like I like own a big tech company and I'm innovating pharma.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna send it to you. Does that work really faster? Okay, it's gonna be the settlerism K, OLRC, UCF, and then signing statement.
It's sent from me.
I'm good.
We're good.
We're good? Okay. I'm wondering good.
Mm-hmm.
On the K, we're kicking it out going forward. There's no perfect condos and reject the team policy. We're not going for it. UCF can see the perms, we're not going for it. Signing statements. The counterplan solves the entirety of the case passes the plan as the legislation, but offensive signing statement that is claimed in law as a non-binding and unconstitutional. Congress then challenges the statement, which allows the court to strike it down as impermissible executive direction that results in full codification of the plan and presidential, which basically one was that there's no spillover. But the congressional pushback says the precedent that gives control, which gives the spillover. That's the thing evidence in. Signing statements obliterates the SOP, nullifying all other controls. Congressional reassertion solves Wolverhampton. A signing statement offense to a bill statement changes the laws revoking the right of the resident defining constitution, nullifying it. Checks and balances. The president to obviate the veto was statement as the law. The land. The Simon scheme within the CS and the court accepted the signing statement and there's Congress compliance to erase the checks and obliterate the balance statements. Some of the record involve executive discretion of the backside says test to corruption or early, but whether the path of disposition or despotism. Do you have to turn or should we skip it and come back to it?
I'll go skip it.
Okay, net 2 theories that there's no impact to polarization of the status quo, but that's not true because the spillover and permanently counterplan is severance. Voted for the night ground and clash of the amendment plan is the opposite of prohibition that declares ban unconstitutional, and signing statements make the bill and not a law and void legal effect any salty as proved by a result based on the downstream implementation courtly and evaluate the competition through mandates permeating effects skills because any counterplan could cause the plan. It's no different than the U.S. model in international counterplan federal following for states and signing statements. Several law rendered the counterplan advisory and unenforced phasing 22. Only limit statements contextualized without registering object states have become less common states preferring to interpret and enactment reflects a counterfection of laws legally. Variations between recognized not only the volume but also the forms of reasoning and the real constitutionality. Relevant distinction between forms of policy and non-enforcement of rights. Non-enforcement members that are treat the provision as financial and lobbying for categorically indicating visual constitutionality to strike down the executive service portions not by enforcing the divided statements. Transparently forecast the non-application of the laws that leave in scope. Permanently counterplan the act with intrinsic delay textually through then and functionally through the time limit process takes ground of fairness allows them to fiat add-ons that leads to revenue veterans and delays battle as situations speculative dissents of politics straight off from beginning to time and arbitrary there's no byline for when the plan finishes and when the counterplan begins vice versa cross apply this should actually skip that upper method is illegitimate acts function ground internal benefits get erased. Those are the only way to produce offense on the topic perm snowball and full intrinsiqueness delete and terminate offense and perm game and text get shuffled to add unpredictable function choice shape words from advantage counterplans if you dissents to assist with the plan functions by inserting extraneous words into the next real world decision maker that evaluate policy based on function not text promote affordable education by comparing function first their interface ban the plan non-competitive unpredictable and arbitrariness where it says US should and also feels could looks like do both and the functional form is defined by the which is most closely defined to
Do you have the blog for other issues, Myra?
yeah, I just read it.
No, that's
Yeah, that's the one I just read.
there's cards. It's just go. Just keep reading.
Okay. Competition did that. Okay. Certainty deficit. Certainty is actually often the plan links for investors. They don't know about the durable fiat, so every legal process they think is uncertain happening in the status quo. And the mere existence of signing statements makes all law uncertain by allowing the executive review in the passage to the lawyer. Reversal it means that only the counterplans proceed its final and a resource expectation to settle law by delineating clear boundaries for enforcement. Rodriguez 16. Executive behaves opportunistically upsetting expectations about the authority. Statements reactivate lawmaking to mission and moderating benefits. Delegation increasing the growth results in aversion between lawmaking and discourage co-op between the president and Congress. This suggests important rules, of course, delineate boundaries of authority makes all actors better. The statement said was their context, such as executive's authority not to enforce.
Yeah. That's go down. It's do both.
Okay, do both severance signing statements and validates the plan by stripping its mandate of legal force, which effectively bans the plan via recourse enforcement. So doing both would be incoherent, meaning if anything, it'll force the plan despite that the state fails. And downgrading it to most of the statement to mere rhetoric, causing the course to uphold the expedited 8.
Just read that.
Okay. Whether a substantive statement demands a particular review, the person is supposed to authority to letter choose the normal whether a statement operates as a veto or turns on whether the president decides to audit the provision statement. So, inspection imposed an act expression on one and nothing more than an expression on the other non-enforcement. The veto statement rejected by the court translated expression in a conduct.
Go back to other issues.
Go back up to other issues. And vagueness, the terms imprecise. The terms imprecise. Jensen 7. Listening concerning specificity statements and worded language less likely to have any standard name for a summary. Congress clashed over the CCA. The specific statement made it easy to abstain of vague objections are difficult to challenge. The admin makes clear the statement.
The turn is wrong.
Oh yeah, the term's wrong.
The card is from 2007.
The card's from 07.
And there's already been multiple other signing statements that have been attached.
Multiple other signing statements have already been attached.
It wouldn't look like overstretch.
It doesn't look like overstretch.
If the plan is a good idea.
If the plan's a good idea.
It would look like Biden is just using his authority.
It looks like Biden's just using his authority.
In a bad way.
In a bad way.
Okay, then go back up and read this.
Collapse causes miscalculation for a policy that risks nuclear war at every theater. Lack of oversight makes diplomacy impossible, which unhinges waves of military inventions which spark retaliation. That's the Fisher evidence.
We have 17.
Sorry, no. Stop right 5 minutes. Second.
You're doing combined for docs. So then
Sure. You can combine. If that's more convenient for the greater population. Did you send your submit? Yeah, great. In the meantime, the order will be the innovation advantage, the prizes / everything else counter plan, the signing statements counter plan.
Are you gonna do the counter plan then that patent's bad?
The patent's bad would be on case.
I think it's bad.
Okay. Doxy.
where are you moving?
Oh yeah, sorry. Innovation advantage, settlerism K, prizes counter plan, signing statements.
No. It just.
What'd you say?
Innovation advantage, settlers and K, prizes counterplan, signing statements counterplan. BVN.
Yes.
Geo.
There is no one winning 2 and R. The block dropped every external scenario that is completely independent of innovation, interspecies war, bioterror, black balls, all cause extinction. Some innovations are bad, and the opposite key to direct them. Patents are good. 1 is regulation. They direct the flow of innovation by incentivizing investors to explore treatment technologies instead of enhancement. That's Mosby, Mendocino, and Pothorsky. Dropped. 2 is innovation. Patents grant exclusive monopolies which encourage innovation in risky fields. That's Warford and Mosby. They say evergreening. This is wrong. They drop every reason why evergreening is good, specifically for gene therapy. It pulls R&D, granting exclusivity as R&D increases, regardless of whether the medicine is concretely new. Revenue still increases. That's which drives good innovation. That's what 2 EC evidence. The NEG has never read the Narian card, so strike every one of their analytical extensions of it in the 2 NC. The patent wars card is not about biotech. It's completely thumbed by pharma and smartphone patent wars. The trolls have no impact. More 18 take away study from magnitude to transfer PAs to small compared to the market. Small size of firms are inconsistent with PAs and not seem to generating the market lose money without accounting for investments. R&D spending goes up after lawsuits. Kind of 16 NP lawsuits invested in innovation. There's an expected reduction in R&D to patent infringement heavily. R&D not sued. NP suits prevent further infringement generating value. Counts Nelson at 16 and as many patent holders and grants less than payments to governments attacking patent holders excuse entities not want to pay. IP increase to $5 trillion as a result of NP is such an interest patents individuals that we lost to innovation that interest their kills worth because it's all about suits and trolls delay. It's not by every patent in the Canadian area, so there's no impact to it. They say their patent product copying is the same as high licensing fees. Empirics disprove it. Galtovic 17, there's no positive evidence on hold up. I think it's a royalty stack in all studies pointing to the same conclusion. Empirical support is lacking. This 15 years of the mass evidence of hold up royalty stack is a common problem in practice. Hold up can only occur once. Galtovic 17, the theory claims to some firms resulting in a royalty stack and hold up cannot occur to quasi evidence only once to cause firms to slow down. That also enters studies because even if they haven't always drive good innovation, they've generally provided lower prices for drugs and allows for affordable specific innovations like genome editing, which only we're reading evidence about. So we're going to extend the perm on the other. So okay. Anyway, the Me Too drugs is irrelevant. We're not making an argument about traditional vaccine distribution, but genome vaccines. So traditional Me Too drugs don't apply because they can't replicate CRISPR. Regardless, they don't have a word that beats duplication, which otherwise drives the same Me Too drugs guaranteeing exclusivity. They say the wrong innovations. This is app uniqueness. The plan solves this by implementing the royal utility doctrine into the patent application process, which allows for ethical regulation to be accepted and non-ethical ones to not be. They say the conceded uniqueness. This is wrong. Our evidence says that gene therapy is still limited and that the moral utility doctrine has not been incorporated with limits. Ethicality. Companies to exploit CRISPR enhancement by pursuing unethical avenues of innovation. That's BCLRS framing issue. All their evidence is about somatic applications, not germline uses. Germline technology is not being used for treatment. Coleman 18. More scientists suddenly shut a CRISPR making genome modifications to UNESCO and national economies to extreme cost and avoiding extreme cost to mitigate the liberal speed. They will drive the cutting edge work in the status and accountability by moving activity out of sight dramatically, increase responsive to identity. Trolls was answered above. This card is not about biotech, so prefer our evidence. The settlers in K.
On tickets, they dropped Olson. It says it's empirically denied for genes. Which
tickets they dropped Olson, which says it's empirically denied for genes, so their specific evidence doesn't apply. Also, the Galtovic card answers above. Settlers in K.
The block dropped to strike every performative contradiction. They said the use of the state was Eurocentric violence, and to reject it, that means to strike every counterplan that uses the state. Drop. Disallow new responses. The 2EC was slow and flowable. We are premising your strategy off block blunders. Arbitrary is not cross-applicable. It's not a reason to reject the team, plus not series key to check. Low class and Concon prizes. Perm all their instances for the biotech stuff, so gets rid of all germline editing stuff. The counterplan is not solved. It starts the regulatory process far too late. It creates a game of catch-up where governments have to deal with the effects of unethical innovation. Patents occur at the best point of innovation, where it's just enough to mitigate the risk of unethical use, but late enough to see the potential implications. In particular, evidence highlights the point of litigation. The inventions have matured to the point of all negative implications can be predicted. Bounties can't solve because our evidence highlights the patent system is specifically key to signal to investors. Regulation fails. The companies work around the counterplan by utilizing private funding. Companies circumvent by working around regulations. Our evidence specifically says the government regulation is insufficient to keep up with the companies because they'll do anything to get ahead of that 2C Crosslinks misses the boat. US presses so hard on these that companies will offshore to UK and Sweden and China creating enhancement technology there. Signing statements. Perm do both. It guarantees that the student occurs, so it doesn't make the plan answers the deficit. Certainty deficit is killer. It's necessary to direct patent investments with the counterplan's confusing process. Nuke solvency. They're not more certain. Nullifying the plan ab initio makes investors scared because they think the production is suspended even if Congress eventually wins the suit. It's long and disastrous for inventors. Perm do the alpha and do it over other issues. Counterplans must be textual and functionally competitive for virtual objectivity. Words have clear meanings, functional, indistinguishable, undefinable, obfuscating predictability. They say net ground, ground outweighs permitting function only. Counterplans justifies U if GD fixed out of protection. IP or rights everything from that consult delay commissions are possible to defeat infinite agencies or regulatory max. Sweet Gens Silver, check neck route, snowballing is wrong, we're limited to test either the function or the text in one perm gaming, not our interim, apps can delete, not scramble, read better text, plus all the beta for game. So it's good, keep legal legislation, real world text functions, all we consider function arbitrariness. It is resolution of words and meanings are in the res, bracketing out more than one is non-resolutional, plus non-receivers key to check the object fiat, not logic, not the policy analysis, it's a game, no plan jamming picks, intermediate benefits, check vagueness, and other stuff that interpret current both false.
Okay, how much? 5 Signing statements that count. Is anybody not good?
We're good. We're good.
I'm gonna get some. That should be good. Separation of powers outweighs it causes miscalculation, unhinged from foreign policy, and risks nuclear isolation in every single theory to drop. Impact means to try or die to solve for the app. When the certainty deficit is pretty much zero, it's a pretty easy app ballot. There's no always for the 1 AR. Hold the 2 AR to every line that was said in the 1 AR because it was very blippy and extremely warrantless, which means then you know the counterclaim can solve. It turns the case all their internal links or an independent reason why other countries would lose. Why other people would lose faith in the plan in the first place. That zero solvency for both advantage means that they were not able to solve for investment for diseases in the first place. Now, I'm going to answer first the 2C first. One was permutation do both, but it's literally zero. First, it's zero. First, they dropped the downgrading card. It talks about how it donates to statements of public rhetoric and causing the courts to not uphold it. The courts do not see it as a reason they are ruling against the executive because it's because of the signing statements, but instead because the plan is already happening. So their actual meaning does not actually take a precedent, which decks effectiveness in order to solve for the impact to the net benefit in the first place. But also, it definitely is pregnant. Signing statements invalidates the plan by stripping its mandate of legal force, which effectively bans it. They drop the cards that were read on due. The counterclaim fiat requires enforcement to doing both, so it would be incoherent if it means anything else. Now, all those two cards answer it, but they also drop the standing cards. Implementing the plan removes the jury, and courts will dismiss the case because they know that the plan will already happen in the first place. Warrant 6 is a really good card. It talks about how courts would want to deny it because they saw that it was already passed, and the issue would not be actually a signing statement because the plan would have already been done by the executive, which decks their ability to solve for the net benefit that you know is dropped, and the deficits are pretty much zero. Now, the next argument is that the standing, so Congress can deny the standing on the grounds that Congress was not hurt by the standing. Quote the mere words that's most with evidence, but also is alignment. Actually, Mary did not read that card, so it does not matter. Now, the next argument that they made about the certainty deficit is also pretty low. Signing statements exist in the status quo, which means that it's inevitable that there are going to be issues with it, there being certainty. Investors don't know whether their plan is safe in the first place. I'm going to answer some of the miscase stuff first. They said that the process is way too long, which deters investors from wanting to innovate, but this is wrong. Right now, in the status quo, they're unable to get protection over their work, so there's no reason why they would be waiting for anything, because that's just the status quo exists as it is right now. But after the counterclaim would happen, then they would be able to get protection, so it would not leave the investors waiting any longer than they would be without the plan right now. But you know that it's all for the future, and there's no impact tied to this in the first place. But offense, defense definitely comes first, because you ask yourself, what's the impact to this net benefit? There's no time frame or delay deficit in the 2EC, and they're not tied to a tangible impact, so there's no reason that you should vote on this in the first place. They say they're too scared that because they'll nullify and unnullify, they'll be uncertain. But again, right now in the status quo, some things are being able to be patentable, but some things are not, which means that the certainty deficit links back to them. The Rodriguez 6 evidence is really good too. It restores and it talks about how expectation is settled law by deleting the clear boundaries for enforcement in the first place. The card talks about how there's opportunity upsetting that's already existing in the scope, and it also results in the aversion of lawmaking and discourages cooperation between the president and Congress. That's what it looks like right now. So uncertainty is inevitable. But also they dropped the Con in 23 evidence that's really good. It says that interbrand conflicts ruin certainty in the first place, and oversight short enforcement that's perceived throughout the government in the first place. But permutation, other issues, I'll answer that below here. There's an issue. Even if we win competition, it's literally irrelevant because they dropped that physical deficit that we have. The Jensen 7 card is great. It talks about how, because it's vague in the first place, that they will deny the right for them to sue because they would say that it was too vague, which means that prevents the case that prevents the counterclaim from solving. The card says that the specific nature of a statement is made easy to obtain something vague, and objective things are difficult to challenge, and the admin makes, unless it's a clear sign statement, then we would be able to overturn it. That prevents us from solving for the internal net benefit, which is at 100, because it was dropped, which means that even if you think that this is really silly, ask yourself, where in the 1 AR did they say a word about this? The 1 AR last words were, this stuff is irrelevant, doesn't matter, but there's no actual substantive deficit to the first place. Now, the competition, also, I'm not going to go for competition because it literally does not matter if we're winning a physical deficit on how it would not be able to solve for the internal net benefit as a whole, no matter, again, how silly it is. There was no answer to it anyways. Now, the permutation to both was already answered above. But also, uncertainty will blow over a few of a month. The card talks about how it's inevitable, litigation, media backlash, and have no checks. And I've already done, that was a technical concession, so even if you think that it's silly, it does not matter. Now I'm going to go on to the case stuff. Arbitrary non-resolution theory is definitely extremely arbitrary and self-serving. First, that this was a small blip. Reject the argument, not the team. Myra said that on all the off case. Reject the argument, not the team on those flows. But even if it does not matter, this is silly. They mean to justify things like rejecting the plan as well. An infinite amount of things can make debate more unfair, more fair, but that does not mean that we should go by them in the first place. Think about it. Teams are able to just get up and say, no, you read this K, which means you cannot go for this counterplan. That justifies the same bad things like conditionality, which means that all of our warrants why conditionality is good in the first place also applies to this, because rejecting certain off cases based off of other off cases is functionally the same thing as it is saying that it should stick us to one in the first place, which means that as long as they conceded that conditionality is good for org innovation, app construction, and engage in info processing, all those warrants were all conceded, which means that even if we're winning that, it's irrelevant because that same logic is conditionality logic, which
Oh, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Everyone good?
You're burning out for this, but you know that pandemics cause extinction, and you know the counterplan doesn't have an existential impact, so it's an easy F ballot. Pandemics subsume their offense and prevents geoengineering of the stratosphere, which ensures a quick collapse of humanity. That's bomb dropped. It also spreads rapidly between humans at a pace we've never seen before, recombining and mutating, causing extinction. That's Waters' framing issue for this debate. Extinction is the biggest threat and outweighs under any ethical paradigm. The tiniest risk of a deficit on the counterplan is huge, because even a sliver of an existential risk precludes infinite pleasure. Think about it. Future generations of humans and humans and humans of every single pleasure precluded under extinction, but the counterplan doesn't prevent an extinction, so you know for a certainty that even the risk of a deficit outweighs, because you're playing Russian roulette with the fate of infinite pleasure. Infinite, pleasure to a degree we can't even understand. It's so much that it's unquantifiable, which means that it's a huge risk. That they have dropped that the plan makes humans extinction proof. This is clear in every affirmative speech. When I see The Economist says we can use germline health interventions to strive burnout of the sun and fallout of the nuclear war. This is the terminal to their impact, meaning that the counterplan has no terminal to extinction, because even if nuclear war is inevitable in the status quo, it's not coming now, because the plan reverse causally solves for it, because we'll be able to solve for fallout of the nuclear war with germline editing. There's no ink here, which means you have to refer to app explanation. The Economist card is fantastic on this question. Brawley and I cut it together. This means that humanity has the potential for infinite pleasure, and the counterplan only prevents a nuclear war in the short term. Counterplan. Perm do the F the counterplan over protecting the genome that looks like protecting embryos from threats or federal legislation that could be over in vitro fertilization or abortion. Russell clearly answered this, the vagueness deficit that Aman goes for. He answers it when he extends the perm proper, explicitly explaining the issue of which the permutation is over, and he also extends it at the bottom, which I'll do below, doing it that guarantees solvency. It does it over distinct, clear issues to send the same signal as a counterplan. Doing it over the plan is worse. It's an uncertain, arduous process that keeps investors out of the know, of whether the counterplan's mandate will hold or not. It's a new bolt from the blue from congressional spills, which makes them risk averse to investment in critical CRISPR technologies. Risk of a deficit needs to be very low for the perm. They drop that humans make the app makes human extinction proof, and all the impact calc I did above. Investors not pursuing pandemic preventing CRISPR technology ensures that the risk of pandemics linearly increases and threatens off humanity. The answers to this did not make sense. First, I'm not going through the delay deficit, but the first Aman says that some things are patentable and unpatentable in this quote, and that's uncertain and wrong. They've not read evidence on this question, nor have they actually made an explanation of how the distinction affects investors. It's clearly in doctrine what is and isn't patentable, which means that there isn't a risk of a deficit. Aman says interbranch conflict ruins certainty. We both looked at each other when she said this, Gio. This is an AF argument. Interbranch conflict is the counterplan because it has the executive, the Congress suing the executive. That decreases certainty, which is another warrant for our deficit. They also said that the uncertainty will blow over. It doesn't matter. Any risk of a deficit outweighs, and media backlash will make it will increase it in the short term. Vagueness was certainly answered. The 1 year cross supply from do both that fiating the suits occurs overcomes vagueness because they'll just sue over the products. That means there's zero impact to the deficit because the firm itself guarantees a suit over products. The sole question is whether they say yes. This is clear in 1 and C cross checks. We conceded all their answers to the turn. The one in our I didn't even read or send out this Jensen card. There was zero card or at all explained to the deficit in the perm and the block. So don't grade the 2 on our posturing. Rahman is shaking her head, but it is not in the email change. They've hedged their bets entirely on an analytical deficit to other issues that's contrived and blazed through by an unclear 1 and R. Just because Aman sends it in the card doc does not mean you are going to evaluate in your RFD because we did not have the ability to respond to this card, and it's on their burden to send out the cards they read in the debate. Otherwise, you should just read it as an analytic that was asserted, and if it's an analytic that is asserted, there's a serious quals indicted here because they are 2 high schoolers. They obviously don't know the way that the legislative branch works, and they can't explain to you the outcome of what a potential signing statement looks like, which means that it's a very, very shoddy deficit, and it's certainly overwhelmed by our certainty deficit, which is very large. They say also the Jensen card, the problem is that they say it's vague and that it will deny the right to sue, but it doesn't matter if the counterplan fiat permutation fiat suits, because counterplan in the 1 and C cross-checks, Russell explicitly asks, do you fiat the suit? And the 1 and C cross-checks explains that they do fiat the suit, which means that
read the perm text.
It's in the perm text, and 1 and C cross-checks makes it explicitly clear, which means a suit, even if it's vague, it won't be overturned, which means there's zero impact to the deficit, which means that even a sliver of a certainty deficit certainly outweighs, and it certainly outweighs an analytically asserted deficit that has no impact and is fiated out of the counterplan.
Permutation to both deficits don't apply because our permutation is over a distinct issue of the genome that looks like in vitro fertilization and abortion, which is not over genome editing, which means they don't send conflicting signals. 2NR did not make a cross application, so you should not do it for them. They also concede, and it's completely different issues, and they've conceded the spin on the permutation, which means that it's zero.
Okay, this was a good debate. I voted F. I am very, very frightened of MBA's advantage, some of this disease stuff and some of this we solve extinction S-CRIS things. Both of the team's impacts are basically at 100%, but for me the case is way more scary than the net benefit to the counterplan. The 2NR doesn't get to a physical extinction claim or impact, just the general nuclear escalation, separation of powers thing. And the problem is, and I think this matters, and I think the reason it matters is because even if nuclear escalation is inevitable in the SQUO and the counterplan solves it, we can always repopulate, and the case is the only thing that can truly prevent extinction. So it comes down to, does the counterplan solve the case, and what is going on with this permutation thing? And I think the big problem for the neg now is that with this 2NR strategy, or just where the debate has played out, a lot of these permutation / deficit questions are not yes/no, they're probabilistic. And when these things are probabilistic and it's a sliding scale, and the AF's impact is existential and just way bigger than the negs based off of this impact calc thing, you get into a little bit of trouble. I'll start with the vagueness perm thing. I basically had the 1AR dropping this / barely answering it, but I don't think after this debate I arise to the level of 100% certainty that the perm fails to solve the net benefit. I think there is an argument to be made that the perm text isn't as vague as you and the Jensen card are trying to suggest it is. I kind of thought a bunch of the 1R and the 1AR in this debate were not clear on some of this perm, other issues, vagueness things. So I kind of gave the rebuttals a little more leeway than I normally do. So I kind of gave some of the new 2NR extrapolation that wasn't in the 1NR for me, and then also some of the new 2AR extrapolation that wasn't in the 1AR. To me, the perm of the way the app describes it is the distinct issue of genome is somewhat clear, and I definitely couldn't tell them why it's so vague to where the inclusion of the plan or doing or other issues perm means that the net benefit can't be solved with some level of certainty. So it's like, I think there's a chance that it might be not vague enough to where we can, solve some of the net benefit. And again, when you're evaluating these terms probabilistically and they have this extinction thing, it gets you into a little bit of trouble. So I think there's some risk of this vagueness thing, some risk of this vagueness thing not actually being a thing. And then it just comes down to, does the counterplan solve the entire case? Is there any chance of this certainty deficit, any chance that it spooks investors, whatnot? I think there's a very, very low risk of it, but I think there is a risk. I think that there is a slight risk of a deficit that is more likely than the perm collapsing. I think the counterplan's abnormal process, as their 2AC card on this Eichenberry thing on a different counterplan, basically says that the abnormal process scares people. Now it's talking about international actors and not about investors, but they keep making the argument that it scares investors, it's less likely to drive innovations, etc. To me, in truth, this argument makes zero sense, but I think the neg is missing some of the classic arguments for signing statements about why certainty is offense for the counterplan. The 2NR is like, signing statements exist now, but that's not really to the extent of their answering their certainty argument, because it doesn't mean, just because signing statements exist now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be used post-plan. For me, the certainty risk that MBA is explaining doesn't come from the threat of signing statements in the status quo. It comes from the abnormal process that is derived after the signing statement is issued and the whole confusion of what's happening and whatnot. Again, I think probably the counterplan is more certain in truth, but I just think in the way it was debated in this debate, the abnormal process of the counterplan makes it a little bit of an issue to where there is some risk of this counterplan certainty net benefit thing. And yeah, so I think the neg also has like this net benefit returns case argument, but the problem is, and this is what it basically just comes down to, is like, I don't feel like I should risk including the plan when I know the plan solves extinction and there's a chance that the perm solves the net benefit to the counterplan, which is just also way smaller of an impact than the ass impact, basically.